Hey everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So this is the second video into the most common asked SQL interview questions. So into this video also I have accumulated some of the most asked, some of the common interview questions onto the SQL, in which I'll be covering a lot of different concepts, a lot of different SQL basics and as well as advanced level concepts. So without wasting much time, let us move to our screen. But before that, don't forget to hit the like button and also subscribe to my channel if you found this video quite useful. Let's start solving the questions. So hello everybody, let's see the very first problem here. So you can see onto your screen, write a SQL query to report all the customers who have never ordered anything. So into the table 1, we have two tables here. So into the table 1 we have the customer ID and the customer name, and the second table is the table orders, in which we have the customer IDs and the order IDs which have been placed by the customer. So I've inserted the same data set into my SQL Server Management Studio, as you can see onto your screen. I'll just execute both the tables. Let us see what is the output. So you can see I have the same data set ready. So friends, what should be the logic? How should we go to approach this particular problem? So the most easiest way to find out the customers who have never ordered anything is, you can see we have all the order IDs present here and we have the customer IDs which are present here. So somehow if we perform a join of this table with this particular table onto the customer ID column, we will be able to get the output. So let's say if we are doing a left join of both the tables, what should be output? So the output of left join would be something like just delete this. And what should be condition on which I'll be doing a left join? So I'll be doing a left join on customers dot id is equal to orders dot id. So this will be the output which will be produced, and all of these will be null because there was no information found onto the orders which have been placed by the customer ID as 3 and 4. So all of these would be null. So from this particular data set, we will get to know the customers who have never ordered anything. So after this, we'll be filtering out onto the basis of the condition where order ID is null. So this will act as a subquery for us, and after we have done this where order is null, we'll be getting the customer IDs of 3 and 4, and this will be our final answer. And this is how we'll be knowing like the customers who have never placed any order. So let us implement the same logic into our SQL Server Management Studio. Let's proceed with this particular problem. So I'll just write here a dot id comma a dot name comma b dot order id from table a. I'll do a left join table to a b. I'll just rename this a, I'll rename this as b on. So which are the common columns on which I'll be joining both of these tables? So the common column is the customer ID column. So I'll just write a.id is equal to b.id. Okay, that's it. Let's see what is the output which we are getting here. I'll just execute the code, and you can see I'm getting the same output which we discussed into the Excel sheet. So after this, it's pretty much simple. I'll just put this into a subquery, and from the particular subquery I'll get the information of all the customers who have never ordered anything. So I'll just write a select star from this where order ID is null. That's it. It is required here. I'll rename the subquery and I'll just get the relevant columns from here. So I'll just execute this particular code now. Friends, why is this question so much important into the initial screen rounds? Because if you're interviewing for, let's say, there are so many e-commerce companies, so this is a very potential data set which they want to know, like the customers who are never ordering anything. They have registered onto the website but they are never ordering anything from their website. So this is a pretty much relevant information which every company wants, and the SQL through the SQL we are getting this particular information. So this is a very potential question which can be asked into the SQL interviews, the initial screening round. So this is how we have solved this particular problem. Now there, as I say a lot of many times, and you guys also show your, the different kind of problem solving abilities into the comment box. So do provide the solution if you have any other methods through which you can solve this particular problem. Definitely this can be solved using the other joins as well, such as the inner joins and all. But if you have any other kind of different approach for this particular problem, do comment down that approach into the comment box. Now let's move to the second number problem here onto a screen. So you can see the table contains a list of students. So I have a table here, the pretty much simple table. Into the column 1 I have the ID, and into the column 2 I have the student's name. So the table contains a list of students, every tuple. So tuple basically means the information which is present into a row. So a tuple would be something like 1 comma n1, 2 comma n2. So these, but the pairs are basically called as a tuple. So every tuple in the table consists of a seat ID along with the name of the student. So for example, student ID is one, the seat ID as one. So this is basically the seat ID. I'll just correct myself. So this is the seat ID and this is the student name. So basically seat ID 1 belongs to student name as n1, seat ID 2 students belong to student name as n2. So you can assume that the given table is sorted according to the seat ID, and the seat IDs are continuous increments. Now the class teacher wants to swap the seat ID for alternate students in order to give them a last minute surprise before the examination. Now this we might have faced into our school days, getting surprises during the class test. So we need to write a query that swap alternate student seat ID and return the result. So what do we need to do? So basically this is the input and this is the output which we need to provide. And you can see one more information: if the number of students is odd, you can leave the seat ID for the last student as it is. So friends, this is basically the input which we are having, and basically the class teacher wants to swap the seats of the students on a on a pair kind of a thing. So if the number of students is odd, then the last student will have the same seat as it is. It will not change. So basically it will alternate between the pairs of the students. So this is basically the output which you are seeing on your screen. We want to get from a SQL query. Let us proceed. Let us see how do we solve this particular problem here. This will be solving this problem using the self join. So let's go to a SQL Server Studio. I have inserted the same data set here. You can see onto your screen. I'll just execute this particular command. Now into the SQL Server Studio, let us start solving this particular problem. So I'll just write here a.id comma b a.name. So first of all, let us write the query, and then I'll help you explain like what was the thought process behind solving this particular problem into the Excel sheet in a very detailed way. So b.name from id, okay, from table to left join table to on. So here starts the magic. So we'll need to provide the joining condition on which we want to join both of these tables. So basically I'll just write here a.id. so let us consider the ID as 1 which we are having. So from the very first table, so let us say the ID is 1 here. So the ID number as 1 is odd ID. So whenever the ID is odd number, we want to somehow make it even number, which is, let's say, 1 needs to be joined with 2 somehow, so that we get the n2 there as the into the corresponding row. So the logic would be something like case when a.id, so if this is even 0, so let's say if this is even number, let's say we'll just do not equal to 0, because we are just solving for the ID as 1. So case when mod of, or when we divide the ID with 2 and the answer is not equal to 0, then make the ID as, just add 1 to that, and if it is equal to 0, make the id as, subtract a 1 from there and end it. So this will be my condition for joining. I'll help you guys explain this into a lot of more detail, but first of all, let's just write the query here, and it should be joined onto the basis of b.id. I think there's some problem, so mod is not a recognized built-in function. So let's see, mod is a function or not. Just execute this, otherwise we'll have to look for different ways. Since we have written the final query, so basically into SSMS you just need to provide this modulo sign, or the percentage sign you can see here, and then it will provide the answer when you're dividing two numbers. So you can see we have got the definite answer here. So what is the logic which I have applied is something like, so we have this table here, and I'll just paste it here again because we are doing a self join. So let's say the table here is, this is A, the table here is B. So basically we need to join or do a self join into both of these tables. So the logic or the approach, how should we proceed with solving this particular problem, will be something like, so first of all, let's see the output, on what kind of output which we want to have. So the output would look something like, so from the table A and the table B. So basically the consecutive numbers, the seat ID should be reversed. So 1 will get the seat number of 2, similarly 2 will get the seat number of 3, similarly 4 will get the seat number of 3, 3 will get the seat number of 4, and because the total number of students is odd, so the 5 number seat or the last student will get the same number as the seat which he or she will be having. So this will be the final output which we require, or into a very specific way, if I just mention what is the final output. So it would be something like, I'll just shift the columns, and you can see this is the final output which we require. So how do we go from both of these tables, doing a self join, to getting this output, and then finally to settling down with this particular output, which is the final output which we require here? So friends, the logic will be something like, you can see this is the id and this is an integer. So if we divide the id with 2, and the remainder which is remaining, because if it is completely divisible by 2, if the remainder is, let's say, 0 when we are dividing both of these numbers, so let us take the id as 2. So when we divide this as with 2, the remainder will be 0. In this case it will be satisfying both this particular condition. So if when we are dividing the number or the id with 2 and the remainder is 0, in that case subtract -1 from the id and then keep it as it is. We'll use the answer when we are doing a join with the other table which we are having. Similarly, when the id, if we divide by 2 and this is not equal to 0, which in case is the very first, which is the 1, so 1 should be matched with 2. So to join, to make 1 2, because so that the join can happen, I will be adding 1 to 1 so that it becomes 2, and then the joining can happen. So basically 1 in from the table A we have 1, so this should be joined with 2, then only somehow we will be getting this particular output which you can see onto your screen. Similarly 2, which you can see here, this should somehow be joined with 1, because then only we'll be getting this particular output which you can see onto your screen. And likewise all the other the IDs which you can see. So similarly 3 would be required to join with 4 to get this output which you can see onto your screen. Similarly, 4 should be joined with the 3 here, so that we get, okay, so I think this should have been blue, and it should have been green. So basically what I'm trying to say here is the output which we require, I'm just trying to make it or simplify it so that you guys can understand it a very good way. And from this particular output which we have got, we will be simplifying and we'll be getting only the ID of the seat ID and the student's name. So friends, this was the kind of the logic which we have applied here. I hope this is pretty much clear. Let us move a much more step here from here, and I'll help you explain how will this join happen. So I'll just consider these two entries from the table A and these two entries from the table B, and I'll be applying this condition which I have written. Let's say the 3 comes, ID number is 3 comes here into this particular condition, into both of these condition basically. So 3 when divided by 2, is the remainder 0? So the remainder is not equal to 0, so ID will become +1, so 3 will become 4. So internally all of these things will happen, so ID will become 4. Now this particular condition will come to ID number as 4, so 4 when divided by 2, is the remainder 0? Yes, the remainder is 0, so 4, in that case the ID will become -1, so 4 will become 3. Now after this has happened, what will happen is we'll be joining the output which we have got, will be joining with the other table. So 3 would be joined with this particular 3, you can see, and this 4 will be joined with this 4. So yeah, as you can see, the seats have been interchanged. So 4 has been provided the seat as N3 and 3 has been provided the seat number as N4, and you can see the seat has been reversed. So basically this was the logic which I've applied using the case when statement, because I cannot apply if else into the SQL. So the same thing case when does. So I've applied the case when statement when I'm performing the join. Now this is a pretty much some advanced level concept, because I'm using the case when I'm joining two different tables. So this is a pretty, if you're seeing for the first time, this can be pretty much overwhelming for you, but just stick to the basics or stick to the logic which I've discussed into the Excel sheet, and just go again, watch the video again, so that it will help you to clear your concepts and doubts. So basically this is how we are solving this problem, and the relevant columns which we want from here are something like, yeah, just the seat ID and the name of the student. You can see 1 has been provided, N2, 2 has been provided, N1, 3 has been provided, N4, 4 has been provided, N3, and that's it. For 5 it is null, so we can just write an additional condition where whenever the null condition is there, so just get the same seat as it is of the student. So I want you guys to comment down your answer. How will be, are you guys will be approaching to solve the unsatisfied criteria for the student which is the last student? Basically there are odd number of students, and into the problem you can leave the seat ID for the student as it is. So basically we have solved this particular problem into using a very kind of a complex query. This was not an easy level problem to solve, because you can see case when is applied into the join. So bit of practice, a lot of different problems into this, or if you want a special video onto the same concept, just comment down your thoughts and I'll be preparing a video for you. Let's move to the third number problem into the sheet 3. So basically the flow which I've kept into this video is one hard problem, one easy, one hard, one easy, so that you also kind of participate while I'm solving this particular problem. So don't forget to paste your alternative solutions into the comment box. So let's see what is the third number problem. So who earns the most money in each department? A high earner is in a department is someone who earns one of the department's top three highest salaries. Okay, so this is pretty much, I guess this is pretty much simple. The problem is pretty much simple. Let us execute the queries. Okay, so we want to know who are the top earners in each department, and top earners in each department is basically the people who are having the top three highest salaries to the department. That's it. So the very first thing I will do is I'll write the employee ID, I'll write the employee name, I'll write the employee salary. This will be pretty much simple to understand because it's a normal join which I'll be doing here. And let us get the department name. So just write here b dot department name from table 3a, which is a, I'll do a, let's say left join, table 3b on a dot, I'll just write here department ID is equal to b dot ID. Let us execute this code. You can see I've joined both of these tables and I've got the department ID and the department names as well. Now from this I want to know the employees who are the top earners in each of the department. So to get the relevant information, let us apply the rank function, or if I tell you accurately, it should be the dense rank function. And I'll be applying the dense rank function. I'll be partitioning by onto the basis of the department ID, because into each department I want to get the information of the top earners. So I'll be partitioning by department ID and I'll be providing the rank onto the basis of the salary column, and that too onto the descending order, so that the highest earning person who has the highest salary gets the rank as 1. I'll just rename this column as rank. I'll just execute the query, and you can see I provided the the rank here. From here I want to filter out the rank only 1, 2 and 3, because those are the people who are having the highest salary. So I'll just write here select star from this table where rank in just write here 1, 2, 3. That's it. I'll execute this code, and you can see we have got the answer and we have got the relevant information of the employees who are earning the top 3 salaries into the relevant department. So this is pretty much easy kind of a problem to solve. Let's move to the next problem. The problem says write a query to find out the deviation from the average salary for employees who are getting more than the average salary. So you can see this table here. So into the first column I have the name of the employee, into the second column I have the salary of the employee, and I've inserted the same data set into the SSMS. I'll just execute the code. I'll just show you the data here. Basically what we want is the employee who are earning more than the average salary of the employees, all the employees which are mentioned here. And what is the deviation? So let's say if the average salary, just for an example, the average salary was 2000, I would go and calculate the average of this particular column, and let's say the average salary is 2000. So basically the deviation column which we need to create for all the employees who are earning more than the average salary. So you can see 2831 is greater than 2000. So I'll just write here this, and so this is the deviation, and this is the extra column which we need to create for this particular problem. So to create this the extra column, I'll just go here and I'll just write here salary, and I want to get the average salary here. So to get the average salary, what is the function do I use? Do you think of any function which I can use here to get the average salary? Definitely I can use the group by function, to get the average. salary of the employee. Group by is also not required. You can see the average. I've got the average salary I've got, but I want to get in by making a new column into the table 4 itself. So friends, if you just remember, I made a video on this. We can achieve the same thing using the window function. See, using the window function, I have just got the average salary of all the employees. I'll just write here average salary. I'll re-execute this particular code. Now getting the deviation column is pretty much simple. So I'll just write here. Let us put this into a subquery because we just want to get the deviation for the employees who are earning more than the average salary. So I'll just write here select star from this, and I'll filter out all those rows where salary is greater than the average salary. That's it. Let us execute this code here. You can see I've got the relevant columns where the salary of the employee is greater than the average salary. And let us do the same thing here. I'll just write here salary comma minus average salary, and this is the deviation column. I'll execute the code, and you can see I've got the deviation column. So this is it. This is what was required into this particular problem. This required the use of the window function to solve this particular problem. Can you solve this problem without using the window function? Please comment on your answers into the comment box. We'll be interested to know how was or what was your approach in solving this particular problem. Let's move to the next problem. Write a query to find the employees who are getting the maximum salaries in their department. Let's solve the very first part. This is also pretty much simple using the window function. Now you'll see we can solve most of the problems very easily using the window function. That is why my advanced SQL playlist is so much important, because I've covered all the concept from the very basic level to advanced level into the advanced SQL playlist. So if you have not checked out that particular playlist, I would highly recommend you to check that playlist, because it is pretty much useful from the interview perspective and getting a entry into the data analytics field. So first of all, what do we want? We want to, did I execute the query? Okay. We want to get, we write a query to find out the employee who are getting the maximum salary in their departments. This is also a kind of a window function problem. So I'll just provide a rank because I want to get the information of the employee who's earning the salary into the department or the maximum salary. So let us use the dense rank function, and because I want to get it for each of the department, so I'll just partition by department number, and here I'll order by the salary, and this should be also into the descending order because I want to rank or provide the highest rank or the lowest, sorry, the rank number as 1 to the employee who is earning the largest amount into the department. Close this from table 5. Let us execute this query here. And from this, I would just filter out the employees where the rank is 1. I'll just write here select start from this where the rank is equal to 1. I'll execute this query, and you can see we are getting the information of all the employees from each of the department who are earning the maximum salary. Let us move to the second part of this particular problem. Find out department wise minimum salary, maximum salary, total salary, and average salary. Okay, 4 information we want to capture here. Let's copy this statement into the SSMS so that we do not need to toggle between the screen. So we want to get the, I'll just write here department number, minimum of the salary. I want to get the maximum salary. I want to get the total salary. Similarly, I want to get the average salary. Okay, this information is asked into this question. I'll just execute this command. I'm forgetting one thing, which is using the group by function, basis on which I was going to solve this particular problem. So I've applied the group by onto the department number, and you can see I've got the, for each of the department, what was the minimum salary. Similarly, what was the maximum salary, the total salary, and the average salary. That's it. That is it. That is what was asked into this particular question. Let us move to the next problem. Basically, this will be the final problem into this particular data set. So, problem looks quite small. So, write a single query to calculate the sum of all positive values of x and sum of all negative values of x. I've inserted the same dataset into my SQL Server Management Studio. I'll execute the code. You can see I have provided ID column, and I have put, and we have some random numbers, some positive numbers, some negative numbers, and we want to get the sum of all the negative numbers and the sum of all the positive numbers. Let's see how do we proceed with solving this particular problem. So I would right here select id comma case when id is greater than 0 or greater than equal to 0, then positive, else negative, end as positive or negative. From table 6, let us execute this. Okay, you can see I've got positive and negative. Now let us verify some. Yeah, it is giving a correct answer. Now I'll put this into a subquery. Let us rename this query, and I'll just write here select positive, negative, comma sum of id from this, and I'll be grouping by onto the basis of the positive and negative. So you can see we have got the answer. We have got n means negative, so this is basically the sum of all the negative numbers, and p means positive, so this is basically the sum of the positive numbers. Let us rename the column, and you can see this was the, the idea behind solving this particular problem. The logic was pretty much simple, using a case when statement. Now this particular problem also can be solved into many ways. Don't forget to comment down your alternative approach into solving this particular problem. Mind you, this helps me as well as the other people who are looking into this particular video. They try to get a different approach while solving the same problem. So don't forget to comment down your alternative solution. Now before that, I have a question ready for you. I won't solve this particular problem, but I would like to provide the solution into the comment box. So the question here is something like, assume a scheme of employee in which we have the ID, name and department ID of the employee, and the other table is the department where we have the department ID and the department name, and there are 10 records into the employee table, 5 records into the department table. Comment down your answers on how many rows will be displayed into the result of the following queries, which is this particular query which you can see onto your screen. You can comment on the number of rows which will be displayed and the approach you have taken while solving this particular problem. Into the interviews you will get this kind of problems also to tell the output of particular query, because this helps the interviewer to get an understanding how deep you know a particular concept. I'll be solving this particular problem into the next video. Till then, keep learning, and if you found this video quite useful, don't forget to hit the like button and also subscribe to my channel if you haven't. Meet you in the next video. Thank you so much. Bye.